Dude, what is going on? He is so unhinged.
Hello, my friends, and welcome to another episode of The Dave Show. Before we get started into high gear, I need to thank today's sponsors. They are Melissa Young and at Brandon53323. Thank you very much for your contribution, your donation, and your generosity. All right, my friends, like I said, we do have a lot of good stuff to get to, so let's jump right in. Let's do it. News and nuts, news and nuts. Hey, it's news and nuts. We've got just a little bit of news and a little bit of nuts before we get into the liberal madness, so let's get to the first clip. It is President Trump, and he's talking about assisting Mexico with ending the cartels. Sounds good to me. Let's take a look.
So Mexico is saying that I offered to send U.S. troops into Mexico to take care of the cartels. She wants to know, is that true? Do you think I'm going to answer that question?
That's why I'm asking. We'll see.
I will answer it. It's true.
Why would you do that?
Because they are horrible people that have been killing people left and right, they've made a fortune on selling drugs and destroying our people. We lost 300,000 people last year to fentanyl and drugs. They're bad news. Yeah, that's true. If Mexico wanted help with the cartels, we would be honored to go in and do it. I told her that. I would be honored to go in and do it. The cartels are trying to destroy our country. They're evil. And, you know, we had 300,000 people die last year from fentanyl and all of that. We had millions of people brought into this country that shouldn't be here. The cartels brought them in. So if she said that I offered to do that, she's 100%
Are you
right.
disappointed that she denied that request, but she doesn't want
Well, she's so afraid of the cartel she can't walk, so, you know, that's the reason. And I think she's a lovely woman. But the president of Mexico is a lovely woman. But she is so afraid of the cartels that she can't even think straight.
I think it's a good thing if the president sends in troops or special forces, I don't know, whatever it takes. Let's start taking these cartels out. CMG 1973 says drug trafficking should be a death penalty offense, and I totally agree. We need to get much tougher on anything related to drugs. I mean, if you're dealing, right? Dealing or selling. Yeah, I'm all for that. What do you think? Treasury Secretary Bessent is talking about Trump's tariffs and how I think everybody around the world is starting to get a clue of what's going on and how this whole thing is going to work. And I think the dust is starting to settle, but you take a look, judge for yourself.
The President believes we can achieve more together. This is the abundant vision he has for the future. He wants everyone to be a part of it. Thousands of businesses are now catching the President's vision. Since he assumed office in January, companies have pledged to invest trillions into the U.S. economy. President Trump has secured more investment for our country in 100 days than President Biden did during all 4 years. Entrepreneurs, too, are starting to understand what the president is trying to accomplish. March saw one of the highest levels ever recorded for new business applications. Many of these men and women, like many of you, are grasping that America First is the blueprint for a more abundant world.
All right, my friends, that's all for the news. Now on to the nuts. This next guy, I don't know, he was jumping from the pan into the fire, but I mean, he was kind of fleeing a fire. So I don't know. Take a look.
Over there! Get it going! That fucking thing's gonna blow up! Oh shit! Oh my god! Oh my god! Come in! Amy Jo, come inside. It's fucking dangerous.
In this next clip, we don't have what led up to this moment that was captured. I suspect the lady was really rude to the staff, but take a look and let me know if you side with the customer or if you side with the manager. Take a look.
Hey y'all, this how the Chipotle workers is. She threw away my food because I told her employees was moving too slow. She threw away my food, spent my whole break in this line. Got right here, she threw away my food because she's a fucked up ass manager. You're a fucked up ass manager. That's why your establishment is the way it is now. TikTok. Yeah. Yup. Let that shit go viral. How about that?
Yeah, I think we all know exactly pretty much the kind of tone and attitude that lady had towards the staff. We don't know what she said, but I'm pretty sure she was being pretty rude. I would totally be on the side of the manager. Ace says, you run your mouth at the staff. Don't be surprised when your burrito takes a trip to the trash. Yeah, I agree. A long time ago, I was an assistant general manager at a Qdoba in Illinois. It was in DeKalb, and it's a college town. And one day after a football game, some guys came in, and I think they were a little drunk. I don't know, but it doesn't matter. But they were super, super rude to one of the young ladies that was working. And I had to step in. It was the first time I ever did this, but I had to step in. I was like, guys, get the heck out of here. I refuse service to you. You cannot talk to this young lady that way. So get the heck. I can't even repeat what they were asking for in their burritos, or it was very, very foul. And anyways, I told them to hit the road. They ended up hitting the road, and it was all good. But yeah, I totally agree. If you are rude to staff, you kind of get the consequences of your actions, right? Okay, I'm not gonna lie to you, that was kind of scary. I mean, you could literally put any face you want on yourself if you have a hoodie or something, or some kind of, hood. And I bet that would fool cameras. I don't know. That's pretty scary. Eric says, this is likely the future of crime. Yeah, I mean, why put on a ski mask when you could just put somebody else's face entirely? And, maybe they'll get picked up initially for the crime, but I don't know. This is kind of crazy. Boy. I keep seeing these little memes pop up, and I don't know. I thought it was interesting, and so I wanted to share it with all of you. It's a 2020 was an IQ test, right? Did you pass? Remember when they tried to stop a respiratory virus by putting plexiglass in swimming pools, and people actually thought it made sense? That is the astounding thing. There were so many absolutely stupid, retarded things they did during COVID to try to stop the spread. It is, I have to tell you, I fought back on this as much as I could, whenever I could, like at work especially. It's just like, has everybody lost their common sense? This does not make any sense, and you have to know it. All right, my friends, that wraps up news and nuts for the day, but don't worry, we're not finished. No, we've got a lot of liberal insanity and madness to get through. So sit back, buckle up. We're about to enter the Lib Zone. The first part of the Lib Zone today is going to be talking about Alcatraz, but don't worry, we've got a lot of crazy to get to, so you won't be disappointed. Let's take a look.
Operated by the National Park Service, and yes, it is a popular tourist attraction. Well, I mean, hopefully we clean up San Francisco so you guys can go back to the Ghirardelli chocolate factory or something. But you think about it, what President Trump is doing is very smart. High profile, high publicity, imprisonment. Play cut 194.
Where did you get the idea for reopening Alcatraz?
Just an idea I've had, and I guess because the judges, so many of these radicalized judges, they want to have trials for every single, think of it, every single person that's in our country illegally, that came in illegally. That would mean millions of trials, and it's just so ridiculous what's happening. And it's long been a symbol, Alcatraz, of whatever it is. I mean, you know, it's a sad symbol, but it's a symbol of law and order. And, you know, it's got quite a history, frankly. Yeah. So I think we're going to do that, and we're looking at it right now.
Where did you get the idea?
Here's where President Trump is right. It is a symbol. Now, reopening it will cost millions of dollars, so it will be an extra expenditure. I can make the argument, though, from a public relations standpoint, it shows that we're not going to put up with the looting and the crime. It's pure symbolism. Let's be honest, everybody. We got enough prisons. Well, actually, we need to build more prisons because we need more people in jail in this country, not less. But the TV images alone are going to be worth it. President Trump will be able to fly to Alcatraz at the reopening. Imagine, President Trump will be able to give a hallmark speech in front of Alcatraz at the reopening and say that this once housed Al Capone, Machine Gun Kelly, Robert Stroud, which was known as the Birdman of Alcatraz. He says, now it's reopened. And let me tell you who's going there now. This rapist, this child sex trafficker, this multi-murderer, this school shooter, they're all being moved to Alcatraz. And as new ones are moved here, we will make those announcements. Because America is no longer a country to be looted. It is no longer a Wendy's to be burned. It is no longer a convenience store to fleece. It's straight out of Bukele's playbook in El Salvador. And do it like Bukele's high-security prisons. Bring the cameras in. He could lead a tour throughout the jail. He can say, here, you know, I wish we would have had a little bit more gold here, and the finishing here is a little rough. It is pure symbolism, and it's smart symbolism.
How much would it cost to reopen Alcatraz? I crunched the numbers so that you don't have to. And if you've been living under a rock, no pun intended, as to why I'm doing this video, it's because President Trump said that he wants to reopen Alcatraz, which closed in 1963. Now, for the purpose of this discussion, we're going to set aside the legal, political, environmental hurdles, as well as the fact that it is a preserved national landmark, and we're going to just focus on reopening. Now, let's work a little bit backwards and start with staffing and logistics. So that would run you about $50 to $100 million a year. The biggest reason that Alcatraz closed in 63 was because the extremely high costs of operating the facility. Because it sits on its own island, it would require boat service running pretty much round the clock. And when you're dealing with inmate transfers, you're also going to have helicopters having to run pretty much around the clock. And that's not including food and medical, which will have to be brought in every single day. Now, continuing to work backwards, let's talk about security modernization. This prison was never set up for modern day security. It was built in 34, closed in 63. So to update that, you're talking about $100 to $250 million. To name a few things of what that would entail, you're talking about modern day security systems, control rooms, biometric access systems, as well as modern day surveillance. So now let's talk about the major structural overhaul, because remember, it hasn't been used as a prison in 55 years. Buildings have been deteriorating. They've been preserved, but not brought up to standard. Let's start with utilities. Things like water, electricity, sewage. They have either been non-functional or outdated for decades and would all need complete replacement. As we all know, California has a lot of earthquakes, and when they built this prison in 1934, they didn't really care about that. There were no codes, but in 2025, there are. So they would have to do some earthquake retrofitting to get it up to speed and code there, as well as getting the buildings up to code in general to modern safety standards. Now let's talk about the cost. Just to get you to walk in the door of it, modernization of it, updating it would be $200 to $400 million. Your security systems, $100 to $250 million. And then staffing alone would be $50 to $100 million. And that is before you have to fight all the other regulatory compliances, things like that, which would be another $50 to $200 million. So basically you're looking at between $400 and $950 million, and that's before any expansions and any other unknown expenses. This could go well into the $1 to $1.5 billion range.
Do you think it's a good idea to reopen up Alcatraz? I kind of do. I mean, it's going to definitely cost some money. But look, all the money that was just talked about, that was like basically everything going to the USAID for like Gay Sesame Street in Iraq. I would rather have the money spent on opening up Alcatraz than spent on some Algerian trans queen whatever whatever crazy trans program they've got going on in another country. I would rather have it spent on Alcatraz and get that going than spend it on that other garbage. What do you think? Let me know.
We have some major breaking news. Donald Trump just announced that he's reopening Alcatraz.
I love how Sisson, every single thing is major breaking news. Trump could sneeze at a restaurant. It's major breaking news, everybody. Donald Trump just sneezed. Oh my gosh, he's such a clown. Okay, let's keep going.
For prisoners, for some reason. In a new statement on Truth Social, Donald Trump said, quote, "Rebuild and open Alcatraz. For too long, America has been plagued by vicious, violent, and repeat criminal offenders, the dregs of society, who will never contribute anything other than misery and suffering." Crazy sentence. When we were a more serious nation in times past, we did not hesitate to lock up the most dangerous criminals and keep them far away from anyone they could harm. We still very much do this. I don't know what he's talking about. That is why today I'm directing the Bureau of Prisons, together with the Department of Justice, FBI, and Homeland Security, to reopen a substantially enlarged and rebuilt Alcatraz to house America's most ruthless and violent offenders. It's just crazy that this statement is coming from a literal convicted felon. Like 34-time convicted felon wants to chime in on stopping people from committing crimes. Isn't
You're an idiot. Sisson, you are a freaking idiot.
Isn't that ironic? This is pointless, very strange, and a waste of taxpayer dollars. We have enough prisons in the United States.
False. We actually need a lot more prisons, what the data says. So you're totally wrong, Harry. Totally wrong.
We have enough. But according to Donald Trump, no, we need Alcatraz back.
Yes.
So strange.
So Dictator Don was pretty busy yesterday. When he wasn't golfing, he was sending out insane tweets talking about putting tariffs on the movie industry and reopening Alcatraz. Now, a lot of prominent Democrats, like Pete Buttigieg, which this might be the one thing I disagree with Pete on, say that all this stuff that Trump does is a distraction. That the crazy tweets, the picture of him as the Pope, it's all distractions from him destroying the economy. Now, I don't necessarily disagree with that. They are definitely distractions, but it's just who Trump is.
Yes.
Like, everything he does is a distraction from everything he does because he's a flailing maniac.
No, I don't.
Crashing the economy is a distraction from deporting 2-year-old American citizens.
Oh, geez.
And deporting 2-year-old American citizens is a distraction from wrongfully deporting grown men to an El Salvadorian prison, which was a distraction from his crypto schemes, which was a distraction from everything else he's doing. Everything he does is insane, and it honestly should all be taken seriously, even when it is an absolute joke.
This is the first president to ever do this in national history.
Yes.
Donald Trump wants to reopen Alcatraz, rebuild it, and put the most dangerous criminals in it. What do y'all think about that? If you ask me, he's just bent up trying to lock up people who do bad...
What's up with this guy's camera angles coming in? Jeez.
Crimes and all this stuff, when in reality, let's be honest, there are a lot of politicians that do bad crimes.
Well, that's true.
I ain't putting nobody's name out there, but I can tell you there are a lot of people on high ranking that be doing some stuff that's not right. I mean, come on, Alcatraz?
Looking at you,
really?
Pelosi.
Alcatraz? The
Heck
one
yeah.
that's talked about when you try to escape, they got sharks in the waters, and if you make it across almost before freezing to death, then shoot. I don't think anybody's ever escaped Alcatraz. If you were to rebuild and to reopen Alcatraz, all it's going to do is cause criminals, when they get in there, they're going to get worse. They're not going to get better. And if you want this country to get better, put them in programs. Don't worry about trying to reopen Alcatraz, put all the criminals together so they can unalive each other and all that, but do programs that's going to help them when they get out, or programs when they do stuff to try to help them, to help our country be a better place. What do y'all think about that?
The last thing that guy said does absolutely make sense, except not for people that would be going to Alcatraz or are currently in like supermax prisons that are clearly guilty. They've murdered, they've done horrible stuff. They're never going to reform. Those people, they need to be absolutely separated from society as much as possible. However, the thing that he was talking about is having these programs to help reform people. Yeah, I think that would actually be good. And they probably have this to some extent, but not, I think, to what it needs to be. But for those lower level criminals that just, they're in jail, but they're not a danger to society. They never murdered anybody. Maybe they, cook some numbers, an accountant or something like, a white collar kind of crime. I think those people, let's try to reform them so when they do get out, they can maybe, contribute to the country as they can get a job. I think that's a good idea.
Well, I had to stop off the damn treadmill. Donald Trump said he's going to reopen Alcatraz. But I went there and took a tourist picture 4 years ago. It's a tourist destination, bro. You can't reopen that. They got a fucking gift shop.
Oh, no.
This dude,
not a gift shop.
Someone come get your grandpa. This is ridiculous. God damn.
I, too, have been to Alcatraz. I think it was really cool to visit, and I think it would be money well spent to get that thing up and running, to expand it, to make it more just let's spend some of our taxpayer money on some good things for once.
What the hell? This man just sat up here and said that he finna open back up Alcatraz. You talking about the jail, the island where all them people was dying and what? Lord, what do you be putting in his head when he be dreaming, Jesus? Like, do he just wake up and just be on the toilet and just be thinking the shit and call folks and say this what we like? What the hell? Steady throwing out these words like martial law, and he talking about he don't want to give these people a fair trial. It's going to be millions of people, so we don't have time for these judges to be giving anyone a fair trial.
No.
This dude is trying to literally, and he is doing it, rewriting the Constitution.
No.
Ain't finna be no due process. It's gonna be, they gonna do the processing. That's it. And if they do the processing, bitch, we process it out. The fuck? Now, Alcatraz right now is it's a tourist spot. People go there to go, walk through the jail and stuff. So, and they didn't report it said that if they had to switch back over to a high security jail, they could. Now, I'm a little suspicious about that shit, but yeah. So yeah, that's what's going on. Of course, everybody's still losing their jobs. They steady talking about his jobs out here today. Mm-hmm. This is what y'all put up in here. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But see, the thing is that they ain't gonna care until it really start affecting them, until it start knocking at their front door. Come and knock at your door. Trump is waiting for you.
Don't start pointing fingers at Trump with deporting people without due process, because Obama deported literally millions of people without any trials whatsoever, and nobody lifted a finger or said a word.
Just when I thought this man could not get any more unhinged, we have a new Truth Social post.
Yeah.
I shit you not, I thought the Pope was bad. Holy crap. You're not even ready for this one. You're not ready.
I better sit down.
Recognize this place?
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's Alcatraz Island. Alcatraz.
Yeah.
In San Francisco Bay. He wants to reopen it. Make Alcatraz great again.
Heck yeah.
I can see the merch now.
Me too. Yeah.
Dude, what is going on? He is so unhinged. He is so unhinged.
Really?
How is this the solution? Judges? He wants to... Can we go back to the Pope? The Pope? Can we just do AI Pope things instead of reality? Because it's way better than this. I was wrong. The Pope is way better than this.
That's true.
He's going to spend your tax dollars.
Yeah.
Your tax dollars
Yes.
to rebuild Alcatraz. A tourist destination.
Not anymore.
I've been on a tour there. It's pretty cool. It would have to be completely demolished and rebuilt.
Oh, jeez. No, not
Does
that.
he like it because it was closed down for inhumane conditions? Is that why he wants it again? I can't. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Oh my god. Guys, and I have another one right after this. Peace out, pumpkins.
Peace out, pumpkins? I think you're the one that's a little unhinged.
I was enjoying a very lovely late lunch of ceviche and mole enchiladas with my husband when Aaron...
Wait, did she just say BJ? Okay, that could not have been what she just said. It's funny.
Aaron Parnas blew up my Substack saying that the stunt queen that lives in the big white house on Pennsylvania Avenue just called for the reopening of Alcatraz prison. Can somebody please get Governor Newsom on the main line? Governor Newsom, where are you? I take very seriously every awful thing that comes out of this regime, but y'all, Alcatraz? He talks about it like it's way off in some faraway land. It's right off the coast of Lake San Francisco. You can see it. It's a whole tourist attraction. What is this about? I'm thinking Bukele told him, yeah, you didn't tell me you were sending people down here that you had kidnapped and denied due process. And El Salvador and my presidency cult will no longer be facilitating these shenanigans. So you're going to have to take whoever you dropped off down here and find someplace else for him to go. Because it's not going to be here. It's not going to be me because I'm catching too much blowback from your shenanigans. It is also just as likely that he was channel surfing last night and came across that movie The Rock with Sean Connery. I could completely see that happening and him becoming obsessed with Alcatraz and realize, this will also be a major pain in the ass to California, the Bay Area, and Gavin Newsom specifically. Both of those are equally as likely to have happened.
Those plosives were killing me. She needs to get a dead cat on that mic or get another mic. My goodness.
Ja jestem za Trumpem I za Putinem, a propos wszystkiego.
Naprawdę?
100%. Żeby był facet z jajami, a nie u nas sprzedawszczyki.
Lepsze to niż lewica, dziękuję. Ale Trump?
Wow.
Trump!
Jest gwarantem pewnych wartości, które ja cenię. Bóg, honor I ojczyzna.
Absolutnie, no co też pani mówi, proszę pani?
Proszę pani.
Przecież on jest niepoważny w ogóle.
Trump to jest potęga. To jest mój prawie jak brat.
Pani kocha tego Trumpa?
A jak? Kurczę, moje szczęście. No kocham, będzie okej. Będzie dobrze, zobaczysz.
Wow, some common sense from Europe. It's funny because the media is trying to tell us, gaslighting us, that the whole entire world, it just hates Trump. They're laughing at us because of the tariffs and all of his policies and blah, blah, blah. But I think we all know the truth. There are a lot of people around the world that love Trump. And I know from the comments from my community, the community here at Idle Hands, there's a lot of people that are wishing they had a Trump for their country. So yeah, don't fall for the gaslighting, my friends.
I do not feel bad.
Okay.
For the stupid people here in America. Because you know what?
Tears.
I lack empathy for them because they lack empathy for me. They lack empathy for my friends. They lack empathy for all the people that are being affected by the current administration. And why do they always say, anytime you try to say something to them, like, oh, isn't it crazy that this and this and this is happening? Like, that's just, it blows my fucking mind. And their answer is always like, well, how do you know that? Because I fucking read. What do you mean? The fact that there's so many fucking stupid people. And it's only gonna get worse. With the defunding, okay? It's only gonna get fucking worse.
How? Well, I have absolutely no empathy for that weird hat you were wearing. What? It's like a satin chef's hat or something. What was going on there?
And in general on jobs, like women are paid less than men all the time. Doesn't matter if there's seniority or whatever. Higher up, still getting paid less.
And where do you see that happening?
All across the United States.
Do you have an instance?
Instance? Nothing I can think of.
Wow, my friend, you are an idiot. Jeez. These people.
I find it strange how people insulate themselves in a cocoon of people that just look like them, but then cry racism and then cry oh, Trump is bringing back segregation, but you guys been segregating yourself for years.
Yeah.
All the black celebrities are mad at Trump when just before he became a Republican and ran for office, they all loved him. That's strange. I mean, instead of fear-mongering and instead of spreading division, why don't these black celebrities talk about the thug culture that's going on in our communities?
Yeah.
They never really talk about the ailments in our community.
Nope.
The high crime rate, the poor schools.
The killings in Chicago every weekend, black on black crime. They never mention that.
Abortion rate higher than any other community in this country. I mean, they damn sure don't talk about the politicians that put illegal aliens before they put black people who voted them in office.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at Brandon Johnson in Chicago. With all that's going on in Chicago, you set out billions of dollars for illegal aliens, but don't put no money aside for the black constituency that voted you in office?
Or the white people. Don't forget about the white people. There are white people in Chicago, too.
And those are the type of things that people like D.L. Hughley and others won't talk about.
Nope.
But they'll constantly talk about their disdain for Donald Trump. So yeah, they don't ever talk about anything that's positive. I mean, you look at Al Sharpton. Al Sharpton led a boycott at Target.
He's such a grifter. Oh my gosh.
But what he's not telling you is there's black business owners that have products in Target that you're making black people boycott.
Yeah.
So where's the sense in all that? So I never got that. But how about this? How about we stop wasting our times being victims and start supporting our country?
Yeah.
How about we stop wasting our time being victims and start being productive members of society, building our community, being producers, actually doing something? Because the people that come to my page and attack me for what I'm saying have never built anything or done anything in their communities. So instead of creating GoFundMes for criminals, start taking care of the very community that you're helping destroy.
Masculinity. I think it's high time it be welcomed back with open arms to society.
Yes.
Because look where we are without it. It's being shown, rather proven even, that it is a lack of masculinity that is more toxic than its presence. And there are, of course, some that will say, well, what about toxic masculinity? What about that?
Never existed.
Well, I would argue that they're sadly uninformed or uneducated about the subject matter. Because there is no toxic masculinity, in my opinion. There are individuals who have toxic behaviors that try to hide it under a guise of masculinity. They will try to say that their misogyny, their sexism, their phobic behaviors are part of being a real man. And I would argue that they don't know the first thing about being a real man if that's what they're trying to say.
True.
Because masculinity itself, traditionally, is about strength, courage, independence, and leadership and assertiveness.
And also protection, you know? We go out there and we hunt and provide for our families and we protect our families. That's ingrained into us. That's part of our DNA, you know what I mean?
That is what masculinity traditionally is about. And I feel that it's needed now more than ever in society because look at where we're going.
Looking at you, Harry Sisson. The poster boy of Soy Boy. Yeah. Okay, this dog is officially the coolest dog ever.
I'm at the U.S.-Canadian border. I just drove from Montreal to Vermont to spend less than 24 hours. Went to Trader Joe's, spent $120. You're not going to believe it. They taxed me 40%. That's a 25% tariff plus 15% federal and provincial tax just to go to Trader Joe's in Burlington, Vermont.
Wow.
Can you believe that?
You suck,
the Canadian
Canada.
government is out of their damn minds.
Yeah, Canada, look, you've got really good people there, I must say. I actually have relatives in Alberta. They're ranchers. They're totally awesome. And, but yeah, come on, Canada. You're not going to win this tariff war. It's just not going to happen.
I love you very much. I've made it very clear how I feel about Donald Trump and all of his supporters. And all I can simply say is that we cannot dispel darkness with more darkness. We can't dispel hate with more hate. We can't dispel lies with more lies. I don't know what exactly people should be doing. All I know is that I'm praying a lot. And I don't have a particular religious tradition that I belong to, or a spiritual tradition for that matter. I just pray. And I pray a lot for the men that have been trafficked to El Salvador, that were kidnapped by the Trump administration, denied due process, and trafficked to El Salvador. That is, I just can't wrap my mind around how it is that's still happening, and how it is they have not been returned to this country. And my heart breaks for their family. And compassion, man, it's not enough to just let your heart break. It's like we have to do something to lift people out. And what I realize is that for me, maybe at some point TikTok and social media can help, but for right now it's not. It's becoming a huge distraction. Like, nobody's talking about the men that were kidnapped and trafficked to, sold into slavery.
What did you say?
Like, I was off this app for a month. Every video that I scroll through the last 30 minutes, nobody's talking about it. Please pray for those young men. Pray for their families. Pray for the Trump supporters. One single candle will dispel all the darkness in a room. And I hope to God you will be that candle, that light of goodness in this world, a light of truth. I understand that this technology and that the conservative mind and the Trump supporter brain has been hijacked by Russia and by state media like Fox News to get them to hate, to get them to fear, to get them to just look the other way. And this is not new. Conservatives have been swimming in a vat of disinformation their whole lives, especially if you're a baby boomer. Or maybe you're a young person and you've spent all your time on Reddit or some other creepy right-wing hellhole of a website. Your brain has been hijacked by technology. Go look at the sky. When you hear yourself thinking, just recognize that it's just the ego. And your ego is your worst nightmare. It's your best friend if you can make friends with it, but until then, it is your worst nightmare. And it's just feeding you lies so that it can control a world that's based on falsehood. That's what's happened. That's what propaganda is. That's what disinformation does. Everyone should just go look at the sky. No agenda. We're not meditating. We're just going to look at the sky, and we're just going to let our minds open.
Open your mind. Open your mind. Open your mind. Open your mind.
And let go of the thinking mind, which is not doing us any good. And then from that place of silence, we're going to let real, meaningful wisdom rise up and speak to us. And hopefully it will tell you the same thing that I have been trying to say for months. Donald Trump has to be removed from office. He must be impeached. He must be removed, and he must be imprisoned. And everyone that's supporting him they also must be impeached, removed, and imprisoned as well. Republicans have to be voted out. Many of them should be spending the rest of their lives in prison as well. We need to make an example of them, and hopefully future generations will not make this mistake. They will take much more care to make sure that we're not putting lies and misinformation and mental pollution all over the internet. It just makes everything worse. I love you very much. I'm going to delete the app. I will see you all in a month. Goodbye.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks! What is a woman?
I'm not going to be answering that.
No? Is it too hard? Like, is defining a woman so difficult
I don't get it.
we don't even know the definition of a woman?
This is
It's tough, isn't it?
It's not that hard, lady, to find what a woman is. I mean, even a little kid knows how to do it.
Boys have a penis, girls have a vagina.
I don't know about you, my friends, but I am definitely in need of a detox. It's time for Dave's Detox. Is he carrying the ring? He's like, nope. Aw. He's just staring. What have I done? Yeah, cat's awesome. Wow. That is one tired cat.
Come on, get up. Yes.
Like, nope.
Get up.
Come on, buddy. Be nice. What? Did they build that hole just so they could do that? Typical cat. I tell you, he's just like, whatever. Going back to sleep.
Oh my god.
Oh, no, I'm not sure if it's worth it for the video. Thanks.
Hello.
Oh, geez. What's going on? You okay, buddy? Oh, geez. Guess he needs to use the restroom. Oh, come on. Don't put booties on dogs. They don't like that. He's like, hi. All right, my friends, that wraps up this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please subscribe, like, share, slap that bell around, tell your friends about Idle Hands and what we're doing here. I'd love to have you as part of the community. All right, until the next episode, stay safe. Know that you are loved and appreciated. And of course, until we meet again, have a great day.
I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear.